Let not your hearts be troubled. Believe in God. Believe also in me. In my Father's house there are many rooms. If it were not so, would I have told you that I go to prepare a place for you? And when I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again, and I will take you to myself, that where I am, you may also be. And you know the way where I am going. Thomas said to him, Lord, we do not know where you are going. How can we know the way? Jesus said to him, I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father but by me. If you had known me, you would have known my Father also. Henceforth you know him and have seen him. Philip said to him, Lord, show us the Father, and we shall be satisfied. Jesus said to him, have I been with you so long, and yet you do not know me? Philip, he who has seen me has seen the Father. How can you say, show us the Father? Do you not believe that I am in the Father, and the Father in me? The words that I said to you, I do not speak on my own authority, but the Father who dwells in me does his works. Believe me that I am in the Father and the Father in me. Or else believe me for the sake of the works themselves. Truly, truly, I say to you, he who believes in me will also do the works that I do, and greater works than these will he do, because I go to the Father. My dear sisters and brothers, the other day, a friend of mine called me up from England. I know him well, him and his family, him and his wife and 3 children. I stayed with them when I went to their parish for a retreat a few years ago. He called me up to share with me his God experience. He said he had a big problem. He was working in the engineering department of the government, and his wife, a nurse, serving in the hospital nearby. His wife, the nurse, tested positive for COVID-19, and she was given leave. She came home and was isolated in the first floor of their house, while he and the 3 children stayed in the ground floor. He would cook and reach the food to the first floor for her. And that day, she got a phone call from the matron of the hospital that she should join duty that night because too many virus patients in the hospital, And the nurses who had no virus, they refused to come for duty. Anyway, she had the disease. She could serve. She told the matron she was slowly developing a slight respiratory problem and she would find it difficult to come for duty. But the matron was very irritated and said, if you don't want to come for duty, you may resign. And put the phone down. She wept aloud. She said it to the husband. And the husband said it to the children in grief and anger. The children all wept aloud. A big scene. The whole family was in grief. And he said, Father, I opened the Bible. I got this passage, John chapter 14, verses 1 onwards. Let not your hearts be troubled. Believe in God. Believe in me. I am the way, the truth, and the life. He said, Lord, I can't find the way. Can't find the way ahead. How can my wife go for duty? And if she loses the job, how can we survive in this country? And he was very troubled. All the same, he was hearing the voice whispering in his heart, let not your hearts be troubled. Believe in me. I am the way. Disturbed, he took the car. He began to drive, not knowing where to go. He went to some distance, and then there was a side road. And he heard a voice whispering from within him, take that road. And there was a very ancient monastery he had never seen before. He stopped the car by the side and he went to the monastery. He stood there. He saw a bell there. It is already 6, very clouded and getting dark. His mind also was very clouded. He did not feel like ringing the bell. He did not know who would be inside. What would the monks think if he rang the bell? He just leaned on to that old door of the monastery. That old door cracked and made a big noise. And a monk came out, an elderly monk. He could not see the face of the monk. The monk asked him, what do you want? He fell at his feet. He said, Father, I just want to pray. Tears flowing down his face. The monk told him, you come inside and sit here. In 15 minutes, we begin a mass. 3 old monks. We started the mass. When the time for Holy Communion came, he did not know whether he would be given communion. He just went in to the first pew. They gave him communion. He started. After that, he continued praying. This old monk came back to him after Mass. And the monk asked him, are you from Kerala? He said, yes, Father. This monk told him, I'm also from Kerala. He joined this monastery years ago. And he asked him, my son, what's your problem? You look so disturbed. He said, all his problem. This monk told him, my son, don't worry. I come from the Malabar side, from a remote village. When I grew up in that area, the whole place was infected by malaria. My father was a village physician. He used to give a sort of decoction that healed all the malaria patients. And the decoction was this. Take some honey. Have you honey in your house? He said, yes. And turmeric? He said, yes. Have you ginger and pepper? He said, yes. Powder the pepper and the ginger and turmeric. Put in the honey and give your wife to drink. And all of you drink that. And twice a day, don't worry. And he knelt down, and this old monk prayed for him. Very consoled, he came home. And he gave this decoction to his wife. And he said, Father, in 1 week's time, my wife tested negative.